All right, for our next brewery, we are just north of Grand Rapids at Perrin Brewing in Shannon. I feel like they got some pretty cool stuff for us to do today.
And I hear they have no rules. That's what I'm interested in.
Works for us. Let's go check it out.
I think they reach out to beer drinkers of all different palates. You don't have to be a crafty beer drinker to enjoy their beer.
It's easy to take a non-craft beer drinker too. You can bring them here to have beer, you can have food. You're not going to have to feel pretentious about bringing somebody in. Yeah, it's easy going.
I love the decor, the industrial look of it. It was like just openness and there's lots of variety in the beer. It was just a good place to come.
I'm from Grand Rapids and I love coming out to Perrin. It's in a different spot. We get to see a different area of town. Their beer is just unique. There's a ton of craft beer around here, but they do it really well.
Grand Rapids is known as Beer City, USA, and a lot of people are trying to gain entry into that scene. Perrin president Keith Klopsick was already involved, but his path included a different turn.
Well, I was a distributor for years. My father had started a distributorship, Westside Beer, and for years we were importers as well. So I'd have always, liked bigger beers, bigger bodies, different styles versus just your basic American lagers.
Now, the story I heard is you decided to retire a little bit. That didn't work out too well for you. Maybe someone that didn't want to sit still for very long?
3 days. Lasted 3 days.
That's pretty good. I mean, 72 hours.
Yeah, so what happened was I decided to sell my 50% of Westside to my brother. And when I did that, the owner of Perrin called me, because we were their distributor, and said, I understand you're selling Westside. And I said, yeah. And he said, would you like to buy the brewery? And I was like, man, call me back in 6 months or whatever, but I knew I wanted to.
Keith ended up pulling the trigger on Perrin, and in fact, he formed a holding company with Oscar Blues Brewery in Colorado and Cigar City Brewing in Florida. And soon after that, the guys at Perrin got together and brewed one of the best beers in the world.
It's a knockoff of the Big Lebowski, where John Goodman screams, this isn't Vietnam, there's rules. Well, the guys were having a tough day in the brewery one day, and one of the guys yelled, there's no rules around here, and they kind of took it from that and made they created a style. It's a Vietnamese porter, and technically before No Rules was made, that wasn't even a style.
I don't think we expected quite exactly what happened. It was one of those projects we knew was special because of the way the brewers felt about it. So when we were coming up with the process, it just kind of created itself. It was like, hey, let's do it this way, let's add this, and everybody was super excited. And I think when you see the entire team as excited as they were, it's going to be something special.
Won Best Beer new release in the world in 2015 from Rate Beer, and then Draft Magazine rated it the best winter release of 2015 as well. So we got a lot of kudos for that. And then we had the No Rules Boondoggle here when we had a release, and we sold out in an hour and a half. Then out in the trade, sold out in a day. So it's a lot of fun.
Probably my heart is with No Rules, which isn't really a go-to. It only comes out annually. So.
Were you in the line waiting for it?
Yeah, it was early. Watched the sun come up over the building, and just wound up with a couple hundred people here.
Wow.
Got our beer, and yeah, had a good time.
One thing we kept hearing at Perrin is how clean the beer tasted, and there's a reason for that, as this brewery is dedicated to consistency in every batch.
I always say my favorite part of brewing is just the blend of art and science. You know what I mean? Obviously I'm doing a lot of science in here, but when it comes to recipe formulation and just dreaming up all these ideas, it's really artistic. Like when it comes to making sour beers, it's more like making wine than it is making beer almost, and you really have to have that art. So what I always say is I just love that blend of both of those worlds. Not many other jobs you would have that opportunity to have such a cool profession.
And cleanliness and consistency are one and the same when it comes to beer. We do have really strong beer that has a long lingering aftertaste. We do have crazy funky barrel-aged beer, but it's all consistent and it's all done intelligently by these guys that have decades of experience. I feel proud when I'm pouring these beers for people.
The majority of Perrin's beer comes in cans, which means they need a pretty quick and effective canning line and packaging program. And because this is America and everything needs to be a competition, Shannon and I grabbed some Grapefruit IPA and faced off in the Perrin 12-Pack Challenge.
I totally smoked Ryan.
Hey, but what about that straggler? It's a technicality, but I will take the win.
I call shenanigans. Plus, how can the real winner not be the girl who left a beer for herself?
So we did not set out to have a politically themed show this week, but while we were filming, here comes U.S. Congressman Bill Huizenga rolling up with some friends from Washington, D.C. to show them what the Michigan craft beer scene has to offer.
They have been thoroughly enjoying themselves, been very, very impressed with the high level of craftsmanship in the beer and in the food, and it's really been a neat experience. So we're hoping that there's going to be a greater spread of the through word of mouth of what craft beer here in Michigan is all about.
Lots of growth in this industry. You've really seen it, having been involved with this state. What's been one of your favorite things to see come out of this?
You know, I think what it is the entrepreneurship. Really seeing someone who's got a passion and saying, you know what, I'm gonna go do this. And when I was in the state legislature here in Michigan, that was one of my goals, was try and lower those barriers of entry. And it's really cool to see that happen, and just a sort of a new artistic expression here in Michigan.
Bill Huizenga, let's go get yourself a drink, sir.
You got it, you got it.
Hey Keith, thanks for a great day at Perrin Brewing Company today.
Oh, it's been great. Appreciate you guys coming out, and why don't we finish it off with a Perrin Black?
Sounds good to me. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right on.
Yeah.
On the next episode of Pure Brews, we get a taste of life on the farm.
And then it's party time.
We visit Greenbush and Shorts next time on Pure Brews America.